Hello, everybody. We're here live. We're going to wait some seconds so some participants will join. Now you cannot see because I have this background, but here I have some students, maybe 20 students, that also will join us during this session. So in the UPC, in the Polytechnic University of Catalonia.
Hello, students.
Yeah, so they can see you. You cannot see them, but they are there. Maybe they will make some noise or whatever. Okay, so I see whole number of participants are growing. Meanwhile, I'm going to introduce Néstor. And Néstor, I think that maybe to introduce you, maybe you can put the first slide. You know which slide is. No, then maybe it's the next, another one.
This one?
This one. Okay, this is Néstor. Okay, this is Néstor. Néstor is an engineer. Is someone that we meet. You can see some of the photos where we are young. And we have very bad luck, Néstor, because we have been exposed to Lean in our early 20s, okay, in Delphi. And we have the big luck to be mentored by senseis like Kazumi Nakada, that you can see here, by John Shook, and by many other people. So I think that your experience is super valuable. And not only this, I remember last year we presented one of the books, Managing to Learn, Managing Without Problems. That is maybe the book that fits better today, right?
Yeah, it is. It is. It
Okay.
is.
So what are we going to talk today, Néstor?
Well, hello, everyone. 1 year more. We are here. Thank you, LGN, to organize all this amazing event. We will talk about a little bit, the topic of this summit this year is about how to more or less combine the quick, let me say, the short-term things with the mid-long-term sustainable transformation. So this is something that I covered in my last book, in the second book, that is Managing Without Problems. So this is what we will see today.
Okay. And why? I see this balance, okay, between the people, the culture, the tools, and how does it fit with the today topic?
Well, it's about this. So let me say, I will show later the model that we propose on how to find a good balance between the short-term results based on tools. Let me say how the tools can help the short term, but also how do we ensure that we have also a transformation on the mid-long term. So how can we combine both things. So when I decided to write this book was because of this. So we were training, and you and I were training a lot of lean engineers, let me say, lean leaders into the organizations. And sometimes when they came back to the job, they say, "Hey, real Nestor, you know what? I cannot do what I've learned. I cannot practice that due to my boss or due to that." So I decided why don't you write a book that covered this level of in organization, no? Or to show that, and which is the role of the leaders in organization, and how to provide also not only some ideas, but also some methods and tools. That this is what we love to provide as well. Some methods and tools to this level of the staff in organization, no?
Okay, right. Maybe we can go to, if you can refresh us,
Yes.
we can find inside the book, and because I think that the structure also will help on how to manage this.
Yeah, exactly. So inside the book, that this is the second one, as I mentioned, there are like 3 parts. No, in the first part, I cover a little bit the background or the context of the lean transformation. So in 2008, we opened a research just to try to find the main topics or the main things that makes that the transformations fails, because we start to do many transformation, but what we started to realize is that when we leave the project, or when the leaders in organization that has done the transformation leave, then the transformation fall, no? And this is something that we started to reflect. I remember in 2007 or 2008, Uriol, that we presented to the LGN this thing, no, saying how can we ensure that that what we do or what we try to help the organizations once we leave or once the lean leader leaves, it's sustainable on the time. No? So we started to do this. So this is part of what we cover in the first part. The second part is about these methods and tools. So based on this research, we provided to the organizations and to the leaders of the organization some of tools, and we cover like 6 essential tools. And in the third part, there are some case studies that we covered during those years where we have been applying a lot of those tools, no? And it's a really interesting part as well. So it's about practice. So this is about do. So this is what you can find there.
Okay, so it's important this context, the transformation context, but just to take in account, because we cannot build all the transformation context in one shot. Okay, so I guess with the 6 practices, small by small, layer by layer, we can also create this context, because sometimes I think that until you don't have the perfect culture, you cannot start the transformation, and this is not true, right, Nestor?
Yeah, exactly.
So I guess that today we're going to talk a lot about the transformation context. So maybe if you can make an overview of this first part of the book, because I think it meets today's purpose.
Yeah, last year I presented, because I'm not able to do a book every year, but hopefully I could. But last year I presented the tools by themselves. Sorry?
You are not still US.
No, exactly. I'm not US that is doing a lot of books. But I would like, last year I focused in the tools. I would like to focus really in the context this year, because when I saw the title of the topic of this event, with Roberto Priolo, we say, hey, what we explain here in this part of the book is part of the things that we want to discuss, no? So just as a little bit of background, this is what the research that I mentioned. So we opened this research where we find like 27 factors, key factors based on the bibliography. We find like 27 key factors that makes that the transformations succeed or fail, no? So some of them you see there some of the main topics. So you can see resistance to the change, clear purpose, and this is something that when we teach part of the models that we do, people confirm. So we are doing a training where people and the audience confirms always that those topics are keys, no? And one specific one is the shorter thinking. So this is something that we have to start to see, no? How do we combine the shorter thinking over a long-term view, no? Perception as lean as extra work, lack of resources, sometimes is lack also of capabilities to implement this. So those are part of the things that we discovered on this research, okay? So in the context of this, and the thing that by the way, the introduction of this book is done by John Shook, who helped us to the Lean Global Network community to provide this lean transformation framework that has been covered in other sessions during this event. I saw yesterday Dave Rand presenting this as well with the team, but through the lean transformation framework, covering the 5 questions, we are able to really let me say, eliminate part of the factor or risk that we have that has been presented in the previous slide. So just in a quick view, so the 5 dimensions that John Shook mentions to us is to cover, first of all, to be clear in the problem that we try to solve. So this is the first thing that we need to define in any change. So what do we want to change? Because if we are not clear on that, on what do we want to solve, it's difficult to embrace people and to bring people with us, let me say, on the transformation, no? It's like to make a trip, you don't know where. No, I'm clear on where do we want to go. The second question is the left side of this house is how do we do the work? Are we clear on let me say, the tools that we are using and the way that we are using the systems that we have to do the work, and not only to do the work, but also to improve the work? The right part of the pillar is the third question, that is, how do we make people capable on those systems? And the fourth area is the central one, that is how our leaders behave on those systems. and we chart the management, which is the management system that sustains the changes that we want to do. And finally, the fifth dimension is which is our basic thinking. So how do we really believe in this company? How is our historical culture, let me say? And this is something that we put in practice, not only for a big transformation. When we teach that, everybody thinks that, oh, well, I cannot do this because my boss, my organization. So we are trying to start to practice this in a more reduced scope. So we are saying that any change, let me say, any problem can be managed or could be managed with this way of doing, no, or this way of thinking, right, Oriol?
Yeah, and yeah, this is what I'm going to tell you, that in fact, we always have been calling this the Lean Transformation Framework, but talking with John Shook a couple of years ago, I remember we were in San Francisco and we asked him, but John, this is not about a transformation. This is about how you have to behave always, or in other way, you are always under transformation, if you wish. And then he said, yes, we have to find a new name. And I remember that next day in the morning, he comes with a paper, I have it still in my pocket, which says, we're going to call it LTF, we have to call it LTF, but it's a lean thinking framework. And then it was reborn as a lean thinking framework.
Okay.
Because this is how we have to think, or which is the different thinking boxes when you want to apply this and go ahead. But I think that your explanation, Nestor, probably it makes more sense if we see the failures, let's say the don'ts. What happens if we don't follow these 5 principles? What happens if we have a lack of one of the principles?
Exactly. This is what we every time we explain the transformation or thinking framework now. First thing that we say is this. So be clear on the scope. For example, when we do some master programs in the university, etc., and we say to the students, hey, you need to present your final work. Try to apply this, because sometimes we just give to the problems a technical approach. So no. If you just give a technical approach, or let me say a process approach, will happen what you see here. So if you don't plan from the very beginning, how are you make capable the people into those systems, those new processes, it will fail. So you will not achieve the results that you are trying to achieve. And also the leaders will not grow in this organization. So this is something that used to happen, right? Especially, for example, in many system implementations, what we saw in the different businesses is that when you install new systems and everything, people are not trained on those systems. So this is ensuring that you will fail. So this is one thing. The other fail that you could have is that you just develop and you just train and overtrain, let me say, but with no system. So you also need the system. So is this because this is why this is balancing the both columns in this house that ensures that the leaders will grow and then the results will be sustained, no? And the last thing that we used to see many times, and I'm sure that the audience is familiar with some of those cases, and when we have a leader that arrives to a business and make a revolution there, make the transformation, but then when he leaves, used to happen this, that he leaves squeezed because he's saying, you know what, I cannot do more. And the whole organization is not sustaining this because we don't have the systems, we don't have the capabilities inside, we have the leadership that sustains everything. So I'm sure that many of the transformations in the audience are familiar with these things.
Yeah. If you can go back to slides, because I think this is important, because of course, if you don't have the previous one, if you don't have, let's say, capability, so nobody understands what we are doing, then to keep this balance, the leader has to do a lot of effort, has to push this, let's say, the situational approach. So if a lot of capability, but no improvement, no system, or even no improvement, no results, also the leader has to do a lot of effort to keep this working. And of course, if both of them are not working, then you need a superhero that yesterday James Womack was talking this about, this superhero. And obviously the superhero are not strong enough, more than probably, and it has no sense. And then is when we have the leader juice. And we can understand this perfect. And Nestor, in this occasion, the Congress is entitled Rethinking Leadership. okay? So lean thinking for the daily impact and long-term resilience. And I think that the book that we have been talking about, the model that is in the book is totally in line with this purpose. And I think that this picture explains a lot of things, okay? That helps to put in context a lot of things. Can you explain a little about that?
Yeah. It could be long to explain, but I think it's easy to see when you see the graph by itself. It's explained. When we discuss about this lean thinking framework or the transformation by itself, as we saw in the main problems in the previous slides that the organizations are having is that they are focusing in the short term. I think that many times happens when I was in some project that were that the CEO were deciding to have the transformation, and I saw the business situation. I say, you know what? I think that we have to play two games here. I think that we need to play a game that is deliver what is needed right now, because if we don't deliver what is needed right now, we cannot plan a lean transformation here because the business is suffering a lot. So we need to ensure that in the short term, we can stop bleeding. Let me say, we need to put something there, right? So this is what you see in the graph at the very beginning in the left area. Sorry, I'll mark here. In the left area, at the very beginning, many projects start by fulfilling the business needs, right? So this is fulfilling any business needs in safety, in quality, in deliveries, in cost, in what's needed. To do this, I can pick any lean tool. Let me say it's totally good. Let me say we can pick. Imagine that you have a service problem. You can apply Kanban. You can do what you want. You can rebalance systems. You can do everything. What is sure is that these kind of activities cannot ensure that this will be lasting. This will not be sustained on the time. So this is not the right way, I think, to plan that. So it's good to differentiate this kind of activity. So is what I say here is do it now. If you can do it right, but do it now for sure. In the other hand, you have the green area. When a business starts by a lean transformation, usually we are in this area that you are marking here, Oriol. We are at the very beginning. What do we need at the very beginning? Well, we need to win some partners. We need to embrace people. We need to bring people now to the new way of doing. And it is something obvious what I will say, but sometimes we strongly recommend to do a pilot thing because sometimes we think big, but when we need to start to do is so big what we want to do that we fail. So we strongly recommend to start to do in small pieces. So start by pilots, ideally out of the pressure of the business, because sometimes we pick as a pilot the most important equipment or the most important area or the most important department. No, try to pick, please, the out of the pressure. This way we can build the first areas that are starting to transform in this new way of doing. And in this way, we start to apply the lean tools, but in a more consistent way, ensuring that we are achieving not only results, but also we are growing future leaders, that this is the key, future leaders that ensures that nobody is essential in our organization. So the new leaders, the new era will maintain what has been doing. So the more we are advanced, the more we go to the right of this graph, the more the lean transformation is advancing, the less red area that we are having. Okay, so this is more or less the idea. So how do we play these two games? Okay, so based on that, what we always suggest to the organizations, and based on the hosting country as well, is how do inside the hosting exercise sometimes, how do we ensure that we are clear on what to put in each area? So when I start in some transformations, helping the companies, I say to them, maybe we have to differentiate now by the hosting country exercise by itself. And what I strongly suggest, and we have done in some projects, is to try to identify the problems to be solved and classify them into the red or the green area. So which game do we want to play? Do we need to play do it now? Do we need to play do it right? What game do we need to play? And ensuring that we are clear in the scope, the time, the resources needed to be assigned, so that we are clear in both areas. So that's for me is really something that has helped to me to get some credibility. Obviously, if I go to the CEO, that he or she needs results right now, I cannot say to them that it will take a couple of years, 3 years, 4 years to be in a stable way by using the lean tools, no? And having leaders that understand it takes time, obviously, but the thing is I need to play both games because I need also to deliver some results in the short time, right?
This is why it's so important to do it with A3s or at least with PDCA, because it's not only getting the results. Of course, you can solve in a simple Kaizen maybe, or just with an Ishikawa because you are very smart. Because how you are going to transfer capability to the people if you don't do it with a PDCA, if you don't do it with an A3? Because A3 is an improving tool, but also it's a coaching tool, it's a capability tool, it's an education tool when you embrace the team. So sometimes people say, why we need to do an E3 for even simple things? Okay, do it very quick, but follow the structure, because otherwise you are going to unbalance the both columns. And well, you know, if you want to go quick, go alone. You want to go further, go with people. And we need this tool. So I love that you populated this with A3s.
Yes, this is one thing. And then the other thing that we strongly suggest is that why, especially for the green area, why don't you pick the lean thinking framework and you start to cover the 5 dimensions, right, for the problem. So this is something that we have been practicing a lot with in the projects with different groups, and also with the students sometimes saying, try to just don't give to the A3 a technical approach. Try to open more the scope a little bit. Try to reflect on the 5th thing. So ensuring that we are clear and everybody's clear in the problem that we need to solve. So I propose to the team sometimes to make the 2 columns. So where are you today? And where should be the decided situation a little bit, or the future situation? No? So this is helping a lot. Sometimes the feedback that we have on practicing this from the teams is that it helps them a lot to see the full scope. So to reflect not only in the technical part, but also in the other areas that we have been mentioned. You know? So how are you going to track the different things? How are you going to connect that with your daily management systems? How are you going to start to change the culture, the basic thinking that the teams are having? This kind of stuff start to appear. No? So these are examples of practical things that we have been doing with different companies, and they do this. So they pick the sheet and they start to reflect, especially for the green area, because this is where we want to have something sustainable along the time. No?
And so these questions, these simple questions, help, okay, in the SLTF house to address correctly which is the gaps that you have to address in your own problem.
Exactly. And not only saying, what do you have today? What should you have tomorrow? So this is also helping a lot the coaching. So our role, Uriel, when we go to the business, is also help the teams to reflect on that. No, so this is helping also the coaching process by itself.
Okay, we presented the book last year, so I don't want to do it again. Okay, because people will get bored of both of us.
So many presentations.
Enough is enough. And so we want to go deep in this part of the book, because it's related with today, and I think it's very interesting. This scope on these 2 figures, on the flag figure and on this audit figure. We have a surprise for the people later. But can you just refresh a little how this links with the rest of the book? So which is the content?
Exactly. So in the part 2 and part 3, basically, we covered the different tools that the book is proposing for different leaders. So Hoshinkanri, visual management, leader standard work, A3 coaching, kata, and lean leadership. We covered that. You can go to YouTube and see the video of the last year where we go deep into the different tools. And then you have in the chapter 3, you have the different cases, how the different cases has been practicing the different tools during the years that we have been working with them, right? And then there is a 4th part, right, Uriel, that we deliver an assessment, and this is a present for the reader.
Well, we have another present also today.
Okay, that's good. And in this assessment, what we provided, Roberto Priolo suggested to do that when we were doing the book, to suggest like do an assessment. This is something that we presented in our last summit, Uriel, And we invited the audience to say, hey, now that we are clear in the 6 tools, we explain a little bit the 6 tools. They voted and they decided that those were a little bit the order of the priorities, no, on the 6 tools, the main focus.
I just pasted on the chat a link to do this audit. It's a gift. Today is a gift. It's free for everybody. And if you put, yeah, it's anonymous, so you can put this. It will help us also to understand how all of you are working, which is your problems, how we can invest our time better in order to fulfill you. But also, if you put your email, this will validate in a way the data that we are collecting, and you can compare with all the other people. So how are you compared with all the other people? So is this audit, you can download them in PDF, and this is something for you. It's a gift for you today. Okay. Well, Nestor,
Very
we're
much.
at the end of the session. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if maybe we have time for some questions.
Sure.
Well, the
Easy
first one,
ones, please. Easy ones.
the first one is the most difficult, which is the topic for
Ooh.
your
Which is, sorry?
the topic for your next book.
Oh, we are thinking on that. You know that I would like to have one that I would like to cover the design of processes, really, because what we are seeing is that many processes try to improve and do continuous improvement, and continuous improvement can do a lot of things, but not miracles. So from the very beginning, from the product conception and the process conception, I think that there is many lean work to be done and to orientate properly the investments and everything. So I would love to do this. So we have something ongoing, right, Oriol? So something.
Yeah. Because always we have been talking about continuous improvement, to improve, to change, but
Yeah.
not how to create value. How to create
Exactly.
value, it's a very important topic. So, okay, that's.
But I will not give the time. That's a potential project. Okay.
Lead time is lean, but not for us.
Exactly. Not for us, it's for everyone.
Okay. And one question, Nestor. When on the summit, I remember it appeared as the first problem, the leader standard work.
Yes.
It surprised you? Is a surprise
No,
for you?
honestly, let me say, surprised me in terms that maybe I was expecting another result, but when I see the organizations, it makes me sense, let me say, on how do we organize our day, because what we also see in the Gemba when we visited the plants is there is a lot, well, we have a lot of meetings, I don't have time to do this, and the first thing that you see is, hey, guys, maybe we need to be clear on what you as a leader needs to do on the daily basis, how you are approaching to your teams, which is really your job, your role, how are you helping the teams, and
I'm going to
acting
add
as a
to
leader.
it, as I'm going to add to this, the other side of the standardization, the stability. A lot of
Yeah,
times when we say no standardization or difficult in the standardization, difficult in the stability of this
exactly.
standardization, how I can conduct this very, very good. Well,
Yeah.
Nestor, we're arrived to the end of our time. Thank
It's a
you very
pity.
much. It
Next
has
next
been
year, 1 hour.
always short, always short. Thank you very to everybody that has been here, also to my our students that has also here patients. I hope that they help it in their future thinking. Thank you, Nestor. See you.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.